Over 100 years ago, a German economist named Adolf Wagner expressed a law of expanding state activity in his classic book, Foundation of Political Economy. He said that there is a long-run capacity for the scope of government to improve with higher levels of economic development. Wagner's contribution to public expenditure theories is particularly important when we recognize the fact that before Wagner made his observations, the general view was the belief that as a country grows richer, government activities would tend to decline. If we consider the belief to a large extent, then this view is still prevalent in modern economic thought. The size and growth of public expenditure are complex social processes that cannot be explained exclusively by the discipline of economics. In reality, there are multiple causal factors behind the size and growth of public expenditure. Wagner's law is not a method of government expenditure growth, but rather a generalization concerning the trend of government spending. As per capita income increases in industrializing countries, their government sectors will also grow in relative point. Wagner gave various reasons to support his theory. Firstly, as nations grow, they undergo increased complexity of legal relationships and communications as a result of the large division of labor that increases with industrialization. Because of this, Wagner visualized an increased role for the state in the form of increasing activity. Secondly, improved urbanization and population density would lead to larger public investment in law and order and industrial regulation due to the correlated risk of more dispute in densely populated urban populations. Because of the change of private for public action, the administrative and protective roles of the country would expand. Thus, as countries became more advanced, the number of the effect of market failures would force the country to become more regulatory, thereby extending its role, and this would necessarily involve increasing public expenditures. Wagner predicted the rise of cultural and welfare expenses based on the assumption that as income rises, the public would demand more education, entertainment, more equal sharing of wealth and income, and usually more public services. Public services were viewed as normal goods, that is, their income flexibilities of demand surpassed unity. Wagner called education and culture as areas in which traditional producers were more efficient than private producers. Wagner's final suggestion was that the changing nature of technology and growing scale of investment required in many activities would bring the rise of large private monopolies whose domineering influences on the market would have to be neutralized by the country, or the organizations would have to be taken over by the country in the interest of economic productivity. For some economic activities, the expected scale of capital was so high that the only way these capital plans could be supported was if the nation participated in the activity. Since the inception of Wagner's law, a substantial amount of work has gone into experimenting it. This has given rise to many debates in the public finance literature on a wide spectrum of concerns. Wagner's law, which states that an existing correlation between the growth of an industrializing economy and the contemporary faster growth of the public sector and the government, was the first theory thoroughly tested. It is of primary importance and describes the basis for many government growth theories. However, several limitations on this theory have been expressed in the past. Firstly, since the law originated in Germany at the end of the 19th century, it is only relevant in economies similar to Germany where rising income was seen as a result of industrialization. The underlying conditions such as increasing per capita income, technological and institutional reform and democratization, therefore limit the opportunity of testing the law. Additionally, the German origin of this law and the resulting limited access for other economies often create confusions and challenges for scientists applying this law. Secondly, instead of giving a positive theory, the law only covers Wagner's own subjective and standardizing theories. Wagner describes his opinion on what ought to happen to an economy when it is industrialized. Even though Wagner claims his law as a definite theory, he completely uses a normal approach using simple statements which weakens the validity of his theory. Finally, the fact that Wagner did not include the consequences of wars on government expenditure. This absence of war-related expenses can be justified since Wagner explained this theory at the end of the 19th century under an optimistic assumption that fewer wars would happen in the future, which was sadly not the case during the following 20th century. Despite these limitations, Wagner's law could be observed and proved in many economies. It is of fundamental importance, and many theories are based on his approach. That was all about Wagner's law. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel Explified. Check out our channel for more interesting content.